From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Tuesday's edition of For the People on April the 18th, 2017. And if you haven't heard the news, the Facebook killer is dead. He actually shot himself in Erie, Pennsylvania. This morning, he was stopped for a, traffic stop. And we don't exactly know all the details as they're coming in right now. With the Erie County cops were closing in Pennsylvania State. They got some tips. He was spotted by members of the state police who attempted, this is what's coming in right now, is try to stop him after a brief pursuit, is what they're saying right now. Stevens just shot himself. He killed himself, and they're supposed to be having a press conference a little bit later on today, according to the Cleveland Police Department. So this is literally breaking as we're doing the broadcast right now. So you heard it first here. But, man, people have been on edge because of this Facebook killer. And finally it's come to an end. And I don't know if you watch CNN, but Anderson Cooper had the family on to talk about, their dad, their family member. Of course, they missed him. And Anderson asked him a very direct question. What would you say to this man? What would you say? It's a question that hopefully none of us would ever have to be asked if it was our loved one that was killed in such a brutal fashion with no mercy. And listen to what this family had to say.
Balance and getting them out of our country. Here's what I think.
Okay, that's not the one. The next one, it's Anderson Cooper. Here we go.
I would say turn yourself in. That would be number one. I mean, because although, I do believe in forgiveness, I do believe in the law, meaning when you break the law, there's a penalty for breaking the law. And this man broke the law by taking my father's life. And so although I forgive him, there is still a penalty that he must pay for what he did to my dad. And so I would want him to turn himself in. And you know what? I believe that God would give me the grace to even embrace this man and hug him without anything. I truly do. It's just the way my heart is, and it's the right thing to do. And so, I just would want him to know that even in his worstest state, that he's loved, by God, that God loves him, even in the bad stuff that he did to my dad, that he's still loved, and that he has some worthwhile, even though he's going to have to go through many things to get better. There's worth in him, and as long as there's life in him, there is hope for him too. I do believe that.
Wow. That's faith. That is real faith in having a real, honest-to-goodness relationship. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I've seen people in the face of terrible news, bad news. Coach Dungy, who coached the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his son committed suicide. And at a church service, I saw him standing with peace and saying that he knew where his son was and that he was at peace, he was in heaven, and he had no doubt in his mind that he was going to be able to reunite with his son. That's faith. And for this woman and this family to get together and show that love, not the love that wasn't shown to their dad, obviously, but that's where you can forgive somebody in the love of Jesus and let the love of Jesus in your heart. That's real faith. And that to me is, well, you can't explain it because the natural man, as the Bible refers to it, wants revenge. It wants to get back. It doesn't want to do these things. But the regenerative heart, I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing to see it. And I've seen it time and again, but it's nice to see it where, like I said, the fleshly part wants the Old Testament, wants vengeance, and wants to put judgment in our own hands. The New Testament says, judgment is mine. God's going to deal with that person in the way that he'll deal with that individual for what that person has done. But communities have been on edge because of this Facebook killer. They have no idea where this guy was going, but thanks to tips that led to police being able to find him, to identify him. I mean, they've had billboards out all the way out to Los Angeles and Texas, and just not knowing what direction. But police said this morning, early before they found this guy, is he could be anywhere, and ends up in Erie, Pennsylvania, of all places. But found dead, shot himself in his vehicle, dead after a traffic stop. So there was a little pursuit. Apparently there was many state troopers and local police and helicopters, but there was a national manhunt for this guy. And social media, I got to tell you, it's really changed the dynamic in so many different ways in this country, for better or for worse. So many great things about it, and unfortunately, this guy and what he did, the live video footage was on Facebook for 3 hours for people to check out and look at his heinous crime. And I guess there's a review to find out why it went on there for that long, but apparently computers are not as smart as we think they are. They'll be able to screen this kind of thing, or hopefully there'll be better censorship in the future, because there's always going to be idiots that want to copycat and make themselves a place in history, so to speak. This man was apparently troubled, had financial problems from everything that I've read and heard. Financial issues. He's had marital issues, and his ex-wife was in protective custody because she did not know if he was going to come after her. So, but she feels horrible about this man's state of mind, and obviously very troubled to say that he'd go out and just continue killing until he was actually apprehended. But FBI did a great thing to say that his world just got smaller when they put billboards everywhere, pictures of him everywhere on social media and everywhere. And that's the good part about social media, is that when the FBI is able to put out most wanted pictures of what this guy looks like, there's not too many places that you can't hide. Somebody's going to turn you in. Somebody's going to get you. And that's the good side of social media. The bad side, obviously, is that terrorists can be recruited. People can do heinous things on Facebook Live and record it. There was the gang members in Chicago, if you remember, several weeks back, that were abusing and just taking advantage of somebody live on Facebook. Just horrible crimes, live, being able to do it, and again, for whatever sick reasons they have, to show everybody what they did. And it's a very cowardly thing to do. And unfortunately, this man, they reported yesterday that he had 5 kids, but 10 kids and many grandchildren, but he'll be very, very missed. And but that remarkably touching interview, one of the better interviews, I got to tell you, for Anderson Cooper, not going off on zany things, but that was a nicer interview of CNN to be able to run this for the family to come on and talk to folks about how they were feeling in regards to their faith measuring up to a tragic reality in their lives. And I don't know if all of us could, be that loving and kind, especially when it comes to your loved one. Imagine if that was your husband. But we do have to pray for the family. They're hurting. That's a big loss to the children. But they can articulate and say, I can forgive them. because of what God has done for me. So it's a beautiful thing. By the way, John Glenn today being honored, and here's a little audio of this humongous rocket that went up in honor of him. We'll talk to you a little about it, but this is how it went down.
Research legacy for living and working in space.
In Florida today, Cape Canaveral. And for the very first time, NASA is going to provide a 360 stream as this unmanned Atlas space rocket blasts off from Cape Canaveral with a capsule full of space station supplies. And the stream was scheduled a little after 11:11 Eastern Time, and liftoff until the rocket is out of sight. So honoring John Glenn. And they have 7,600 pounds of supplies for the International Space Station to rendezvous with them. And there's a science experiment, some kind of greenhouse, because they're trying to see how well they can grow vegetables in outer space. It's amazing to watch these things still go off. I'd have to say I missed the space shuttle program, don't you? Space shuttle program was so much more interesting, but to see the rocket still go off from Florida, it's great, rather than seeing everything
vehicle now going through the sound barrier
being done in Russia.
Body rates continue to look very good at this point in flight.
Flawless liftoff.
Hitting maximum dynamic
Booster has
pressure.
throttled back, right on schedule. Signatures look good.
Under a blue sky today, and you may want to watch this.
Current altitude is 11 miles.
as customary.
Range distance
This
is
360
5.5 miles.
view.
Current velocity is 1,929 miles per hour.
NASA.gov.
Each track shows good progress right down the middle of the corridor.
And what a view, too. Watch it. Check it out. It's first of a kind. Again, it's to honor
Booster engine performance continues to look very good at this point.
John Glenn. And what a nice flight as we continue exploring and learning in outer space and all the great inventions and things that we've gotten out of it. And one day we might colonize the moon. I don't know why they don't do it. There's theories of why we don't, but to me that would be the most logical thing. Yeah, colonize the moon. Do it now before going to Mars. But I guess we've already been there. Some people say there's not so much of a challenge, but there are people that subscribe that we should. And it just makes sense. There are some companies that actually want to colonize the moon, put a hotel up there, some restaurants, some recreational things to do on the moon. That would be awesome. Spending time on the moon. Come on, honey, let's go. They're saying they're going to try to make it affordable in the future, where you can actually just go. I wonder what affordable will look like. I guess we'll just wait. Yeah, $25,000 for the weekend. Yeah, some of you that's chump change. 25 grand to me, that's a lot of money. But yeah, save your money. There might be a time where you can go ahead and do this. The big deal in Georgia is this Georgia seat there. And Hollywood putting a huge punch into the Georgia House race. You know, Samuel L. Jackson, What's in Your Wallet? They've been using him for a while. He was in a lot of movies. Come on, action-packed movies. I liked him when he was in the movie Coming to America. He was a thug in a restaurant. Stick him up! That was like his huge debut. Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. I mean, the biggest to really get his name in there. But he's been in countless movies. But star power, again, into this the seat. And they have to look to Hollywood for this. And, of course, Samuel L. Jackson, he was cutting a radio ad urging all voters to flip the seat, once held by Republican Tom Price, who is now Trump's health secretary. And he says, vote for the Democratic Party. Stop Donald Trump, a man who encourages, hear this, radical and religious discriminations and sexism, Jackson says in the ad, casting that the race as a chance to undermine the Republican president and throwing in